Alrighty, you guys, welcome back to another video. So the kids and I were getting ready to go outside and work in the garden, and I wanted to get the Instant Pot going before we went outside. So I'm just taking a few minutes to cut up some potatoes. In case anybody's interested in knowing, this is a Cuisinart knife. I got this as a set from a favorite things party last year, and never even opened up the box until the knife that I have been using to cut my potatoes. You all have seen me bam those potatoes with that knife sharpener. You see me banging on the end of that knife. Well, the knife is breaking now. So but I'm loving this knife. Actually, it comes in a set of, I think there's 4 or 5 of them. Here I am making quick work of this pineapple that we got from Aldi, just giving it a good slice, making sure to take all those rinds off and all the things. We were just trying to use up our produce so that way we don't have any food waste. And again, this is all prior to going out to the garden, because we are going to be working in the garden today. This was a really good pineapple. Only cost $1.25 from Aldi this past week, so I was very thankful to be able to use it. And again, before we ended up with food waste, so I put it in a container. The kids are able to eat off of this for a few days, and yes, I did take a bite out of that rind. Just trying to make a few little updates here and keep everything clean. So I decided to look into my oven. I made a Whole 30 shepherd's pie the other day, and it actually spilled over into the stove. So I sprayed it with oven cleaner, hoping that as it sat, it would just go ahead and get all those stains out, or that gravy that spilled into the bottom, and it did. So here I am just on the ground trying to scrape out as much of that as I can. Don't like to have, smoke coming out of my oven. So I had Jackson to just go ahead and grab Mom some of that water in a bowl, and I was just getting out all the nastiness out of the bottom. I did not do a self-clean cycle, but that water was atrociously nasty. Using a little bit of awesome cleaner here right from the Dollar Tree. A friend of mine recommended it to me. And then I'm also going to take a scrub brush and just try to scrub out that glass, because I do like to see what I'm cooking without having to always open the oven. I did have some dried on food that I needed to kind of scrape off with one of those. That's a Pampered Chef scraper, but it was not doing the job exactly. So I ended up having to take my pastry cutter. It's not a pastry knife, it's a pastry cutter, and actually go back over it just to get some of those fine bits that were on there pretty hard. But if you have a pastry cutter, it works amazingly, and it does get a lot of grime and gunk and stuff off of that glass. And I think that turned out pretty nicely, actually. I do have to do a self-clean cycle, but it is hot right now, and I don't want to be running that self-clean cycle in the heat. So what I may do is just go ahead and spray that stove out with some oven cleaner and just clean it again. Here we are out in the garden. I'm really enjoying the garden this year. I started this last year as just a novice hobby garden, and this year we're trying to kick it up a few notches. We're still trying to make sure that our soil is well soaked. We still have not had a really good rain here in North Carolina yet. So of course I went ahead and watered, and then Jackson and sister are coming behind me doing the outer edges or around the plants to make sure that we get the under soil really wet, because I had forgotten to till. And so of course we're doing our best to make sure that under soil gets moist. Here we are now. I'm trying to figure out a trellis situation for my cucumbers. This whole garden bed right here is nothing but cucumbers. And last year we did a small thing of cucumbers, and they just attached themselves to everything. So I had some of those stakes left, but they were not wide enough. So I actually ended up taking that garden wire off of the stakes, and then just hammering them into the garden bed. And we just used some twine to go ahead and make a trellis. Here, what you see me doing now is we actually went into an ant bed. So I actually have to figure out a solution for ants, because I don't want the ants to destroy my crop of cucumbers. So I found a hack last year. I'm going to try to recreate that hack, but I don't have any honey. So I've got to buy some honey, just a little small one. Jackson's trying to get, those ants were really, really bad. And there Jackson is just really trying to spray them down. We were trying to drown them to death. But we haven't seen many left since we did that, but I still will have to do that honey and sugar hack. So the kids and I did not have any more of that green floral wire that we got from Dollar Tree, but we did have twine. So Alana and I are now just tying the twine, kind of making a trellis. This is not a tall trellis. I was trying to find some of the, what I want to call them, the metal trellis that I had bought last year, but I was only able to find just the one. So that one that kind of goes over, I could only find one of them last year and have not been able to find a second one. I've been to Walmart, I've been to Lowe's, I went to Home Depot and still couldn't find one. And so I was just determined not to spend $1 zillion on Amazon. It was just not worth it to me. So here's what the kids and our solution was. At least the vines will have something to hold on to. We took that twine and we tied it pretty taut. So at least if they start to climb, they will have something to climb onto. And of course they will have that metal trellis if they decide to go that way. So of course we fill that whole bed up with cucumbers, and we do have some plants pushing through the ground. So we are excited about that. It's all working out well. The kids and I really enjoy gardening together. Just one of those activities that we can do. I'm sure the kids don't enjoy it as much as mom, but I do love to be outside. And of course, we'll put the dog on the line on a lead chain, and she gets to come out and sunbathe. She loves to sunbathe. And so this is just an activity for us to do, a little movement, a little family thing. And then of course we get to eat whatever we grow in our garden. It's not as big as some people's, but we enjoy our garden. We do have carrots coming up. We've got our zucchini. And then here, what we wanted to do is I wanted to put out some mulch around those tubs that we had, just to keep the weeds from growing up. So a friend of mine actually met me at Lowe's to pick up several bags of mulch. They had it on sale for $2 a bag this week. And so she went over with her truck, so I didn't have to try to fit 10 bags of mulch in the trunk of my car. You all know that Blessing is fairly new, and I want to keep her as clean as possible. Of course, I could have vacuumed it out. Would have worked out perfectly. But she was very willing to meet us. So we're just making quick work here of these bags using those little shears that we use in the garden, and then we're just going to put mulch around the strawberries and the beans. It just, cleans up the space, makes it look a little bit more uniform. I'm sure it holds no purpose other than to keep the weeds down, so don't have to be weeding around the plants or pots. I'm just weeding the plants or the pots. So and again, it's just an aesthetic. And the bags were only $2 a bag. So I got 10 bags of mulch. That's what I had budgeted in the $20 for. And so it just worked out. The kids were able to help. Of course, they don't look very helpful right now, but they're always very willing to help me do anything that I ask them to do or that I need done. So I'm very blessed by that. And of course, there's Ma'am. She's making her little cameo appearance. She is a happy little dog. She does have some separation anxiety from Mom, but she's always happy. She loves being out in the yard. We enjoy this space. This space right here gets the most sun. This is late in the afternoon, so it is a little bit, you do see shade now, but we get sun in this area. I'm really trying to figure out where my children are at this time. I think, Alana went to get a rake because we needed to spread out this mulch. And then, of course, Jackson will be joining Mom in just a second. Of course, I'm always giving directions to whichever child, hey, do this, do that, or what have you. I know in my brain what I want done, and sometimes, it just takes a minute to get that plan executed. But the kids do very well. Again, like I said, I'm very blessed with the children that I have. They are well able and capable of helping me, and I'm so thankful that they are much older now, and they are such very good helpers, and they never complain. Sometimes they move a little slower than I would like, but I've never heard my children complain about helping Mom in the garden. Jackson's got on, he was born with boots. He's got his boots on here. Of course, he's going to jump in here and help Mom in just a second to spread out some of this mulch. And there's my friend who actually met me over to pick up the mulch, and she's just out chatting with us. She ended up staying over for dinner. It all worked out really well. We do try to have her over at least once a week for dinner, and we've done that for years and years. We've entertained her or just had her. She's part of our family. She's not even a friend anymore, just really a part of our family. And so here, Jackson now is jumping in to help Mom with the mulch. And of course, Ma'am is just living her best life around, doing all of the things. Now, she did not see the cat. If she had saw the cat, we have a lot of stray cats in our neighborhood. If she had saw the cat, she would have been losing her mind. She does not like the cat at all. And the cat seems to like to come around and bother her spirit. So, of course, Sister went to grab that rake. And so she's just going to start raking down some of the mulch so we don't have big piles. But again, the whole point and purpose was aesthetics. We're going to put a few more plant pots out there because I've got some more beans I need to plant. So we are going to do that as well fairly shortly here after. And like I said, we do have plants coming up already. So it's working out really well. The kids and I are doing a great job with our garden. We just started. So, it's all working so very well for us. But yeah, we're just excited to see what we are able to harvest here in the next little bit. We think things should be coming up in May, June, somewhere in there. And then, of course, just finishing up dinner, I was making Whole30 approved mashed potatoes. And I was just emptying out that Instant Pot of the mashed potatoes, and then I'm just doing the mashed potatoes inside of the Instant Pot. So I just found a recipe. I just Googled Whole30 approved mashed potatoes. We didn't use any cream. We didn't use any cheese. We just used nutritional yeast and coconut milk in the can. So it worked out pretty well. And then, of course, I just smashed everything, using the potato masher. We've done that before. I'm using ghee. Sometimes I will use a little bit of oil, but it all works out well. I've made mashed potatoes twice. First time I made them with colored potatoes, and I made them using the that went on the shepherd's pie. Here we had chicken. My friend brought over 2 of the Costco chickens, and of course we do the sides. She brings the chicken, we do the sides. It all works out. And after we open up our can of coconut cream, we just put it in a jar with a top, and then we put it in the refrigerator so that we can use it as we have recipes that we need to use it for. And again, here's just a little cleanup, doing all of the things. Those potatoes came out really, really well. We do them in the Instant Pot, 8 minutes on high pressure. Just tasted very lovely. Don't forget that nutritional yeast. It's still not a replacement for cheese, but it is what it is. And here I am now, you guys. I had a friend, they had some tomato cages they were not using. So I was like, hey, if you're not going to use your cages, I would love to have them. And so I had some spray paint. You can go to Lowe's and buy the colored ones, but they're expensive. And so I just had some spray paint in the garage that we had not used. And I have some yellow bell peppers, I have banana peppers. So I was just using the yellow spray paint on the cages to mark and we have yellow cherry tomatoes. So I was just marking those. And then of course, just for the regular tomatoes, the red cherry tomatoes, we had the red spray paint. So I just made my own colorful cages and was trying to really just save on money. You can do all kinds of DIY projects. You don't have to spend all the money or break the bank. Like I said, these were some, they were not being used. All I did was straighten out the spokes at the end and let these dry. And once they dried, I put them right in my garden. And yes, I do know I should have put down some cardboard so my grass wouldn't turn colors. Wasn't worried about it. Mr. Jerome will come and cut the grass and it'll all be lovely. So ended up with quite a bit more yellows than I realized. And it, like I said, it all worked out. It was perfectly fine. I was excited to have these and excited to work in the yard. Alana's working, Jackson's inside having lunch, and Mom's just taking a few minutes to do things I enjoy. I really enjoy my garden. I enjoy just being out there in nature. I enjoy feeling the warmth on my arms and, you know, just being out in the sun, vitamin D. A lot of times I'm a homebody, so I don't go out a lot, but I do enjoy being out in this space. I plant a few shepherd's hooks, and I'm going to put some flowers and things out here that will also help pollinators come out and pollinate my garden. So I'm going to try to put a few shepherd's hooks out here and see how that works for us. But overall, the garden is looking great, and the kids and I really, really enjoy doing all the things. So again, you know, just trying to make sure we water very well. We don't want to overwater, but we did not water yesterday in the morning time because it was time for church. So we were just trying to make sure, and that water absorbs so quickly into that soil, and you can water and 5 minutes later it looks like you've done nothing. So we wanted to make sure that we just watered everything very well, so that we can start this process. And like I said, I enjoy being outside and doing all of these things in my home. All right, you guys, so I'm just giving this garden a final spray and just making sure. Again, I had just sprayed this garden down, and that sun is so very bright back there because it gets full on direct sun. Actually, this is the next day. Let me get my life together. This is the next day right after church, and I wanted to make sure that I had gotten that garden sprayed down. Then after all those cages had dried from the spray paint, I was just making sure that I could get all the right colors on the right plants, making sure I put all the yellow cages with the yellow tomatoes or the yellow bell peppers or the banana peppers. And so I just made sure that we got all of the cages in there really, really well, and shifted some cages around. Really could have used some help from the kids, but they were not anywhere to be found. With that being said, I just did the best I could, but I really do enjoy spending time in my garden. I just really love being outside. I love, it's just a thing for mom. It's just a mom thing. And again, yes, I know my grass has been spray painted, but Mr. Jerome will come and cut it and it'll be perfectly fine. So I'm not worried at all, but I was so thankful to get those free cages and that I had that spray paint in the garage that I could use. And so all is, all was well. And just giving it one final little spray to make sure that all of those roots stay nice and hydrated. Yeah. Alrighty, you guys. So here's the last thing I want to show you before we end the vlog for today. Somebody is having water. We've been outside working in the garden. So of course, I do a home pantry for myself, but I also do a pantry for anybody in the church or anybody in the neighborhood or anybody that I know that needs food. And there's a couple in our church. The gentleman, before anybody have anything to say, is retired Navy. So they do have access to the base. And they shop there once a month, I think, is what they do. And so she actually brought some things for my pantry. She used to do this all the time, and then she thought I had stopped doing the pantry. But then she asked me, she saw a post I had posted on Facebook about if anybody needed something, let me know. And she's like, oh, Shakema, do you still do the pantry? I said, yes, ma'am. So whenever they go to the base, she actually picks up a few little things that we can stock in the pantry. So this is not for our family. This goes into the other pantry that's on the other side of the garage. And so Jackson and I are home today. We will make sure that this all gets put in that pantry space. But the garden is done and I am tired. And I'm gonna rest for a little bit. So there it is, you guys. Thank y'all so much for stopping by and hanging out with us for a little bit. I actually filmed this yesterday and today. My mascara is running. Oh, that's eyeliner. Child. Okay, somebody done fight with me. I ain't been in no fight, I promise. That's just eyeliner. That's why I'm weird. Praise the Lord. Anywho, I've been outside doing stuff and I'm tired now. So I'm going to put this stuff in the pantry and be done. And then I'm going to have some lunch and pick up Alana in about 3.5 hours. Gonna pick up Alana in 3.5 hours. And then they're going to youth group. We'll have coffee and conversation, me and the ladies. And then it is back to work tomorrow. So anywho, thank you so much for stopping by. If you liked the video, thumb it up. Don't forget to subscribe and we'll see you next time. Bye now.